You need to find the friction in your life and you need to eliminate it. You need to constantly assess for where there is friction in any aspect of your existence and then seek to get completely rid of it. That is how you lead yourself to a better life. Welcome to Build with Rob. It is your boy, Rob Dyrdek, way up high in the Dyrdek machine in Beverly Hills, California, where we are manufacturing amazing on an ongoing basis through systematically fusing art, science, and magic. And look, and I appreciate all of you that have made a video and sent it in to the Dyrdek machine in the past, who have sent me a video personally via email, because so many of you do your version of like the way I speak about the podcast, and the different things that I say, like out here trying to master time, energy, and capacity, design, automate, and optimize. Like every time one of you does an impression of me, in the way that I will accentuate and articulate my words on this show, it is always flattering to me. It's always flattering to me. It's always funny to me, because I always like set it off with the same type of energy. That in my mind, it's almost essentially like me, audio filing my brand guidelines of the Dyrdek machine. It's like all of my catchphrases and favorite words that I love. I love saying them. I always talk about how much I love saying them. But I appreciate all of you who will take the time and effort to do your impression of how I speak on this show. Always flattering. Always and forever will be flattering. Look, today, this episode is really all about this idea of like, where to find the things that you need to change in your life to optimize your life, and how you continually look at those and assess those, and what are those, and what is ever too big and too small to make a change in your life. And it's easier said than done. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you listen to the podcast, you know that I go deep as it relates to using the qualitative data to really, be that sort of first step in gaining the awareness to where you can make a change in your life, right? So it's like, if you're asking yourself how you feel about your life every day, 0 to 10, and then you're having low scores, and you can point to something that is giving you a low score, and then that happens a couple times, boy, there it is. It is so incredibly obvious. That's what I love about qualitative data and tracking it and using it to give you the insight to take the action to make the change as a concept. Because it does create so much value, but it doesn't, in order to continually, assess yourself and understand, how to make, your overall life and overall systems better. It's not necessarily always about, creating a number and that number delivering the awareness. It can be incredibly helpful. And, and again, to all of you that share your data with me and show that how you track your own data and using your own systems, I look, every single time somebody shares it with me, I'm deeply flattered. I love it. And I love seeing it, because I know that if you begin to assess yourself by doing qualitative data about certain aspects of your life, work, or health, that you will, end up developing the insights to help you to grow and evolve in a more systematic way. Big believer in, doing that on an ongoing basis, and really want to create software and some sort of solution for people to do it at scale in a very easy and intuitive way, because I know how impactful that it can be. But it's still a little bit broader, as it relates to bigger things that need to be changed and eliminated, as opposed to the more nuanced things. And as I've been trying to think about like how I approach life in general, and when I'm at this much more sort of optimized phase of my life in all aspects of my life, and already have this really integrated system, and this really nice rhythm, and how I operate my life, I was really thinking about, well, what do I do on an ongoing basis where I'm can continually make the change and continually optimize, and really I do that by just like always wondering where the friction is, always looking for resistance in that flow. And it can come in so many different forms. It's not necessarily about being stuck by resistance. It's not necessarily about being, drained of energy by something. It's just that friction, and somewhat of feeling uncomfortable is what I'm searching for. You know what I mean? And I look for it in every parts of my existing system. And then I again try to create some sort of solution or optimization to whatever I'm doing to eliminate that particular piece of friction, and I just keep looking at it in every single aspect of my life, right? Especially even, how I'll get prepared for this show. I would look at like, okay, what's bothering me? What works better? Like I used to try to prepare and think about what I'd want to do for the show the night before, the same way that I prepare and do ridiculousness. But it preparing for this show is a little bit different and takes more of a sustained commitment of my mind share to be able to even get to a place to develop another idea that I would like to speak about, and that's a little bit different type of energy. And so what I was finding is trying to do the similar way of preparation of like where ridiculousness, I prepare for all the shows in the evening, then I get up and have a normal morning routine and do all my stuff, and then go straight into shooting the television show, feeling more balanced, right? So I tried to apply that, but the problem is this requires sort of a deeper level of thinking as it relates to tying a concept back to the philosophy, and then the concept and the philosophy into a manner that makes sense for you as the listener, and then ultimately is it something that makes sense for you to apply, right? It takes this different level of thinking, and it forced me to then go look at, okay, it's not like it's not working. It just is harder for me to get into that space versus if I get up super early and then work straight through on the shows till I shoot it at 11 o'clock, right? 11 a.m. Like, so I will get up at 4 now and work straight through to prepare myself for the stuff that I would like to speak about on the show, rather than trying to get prepared in the evenings or other spotted times throughout the week to be prepared for the show. And again, it's not significant. It wouldn't show up on my qualitative data about my work, like, in any other assessment for me. It is simply, I was just feeling the friction of not feeling as organized, trying to take that approach. And then I made the change to where, like, okay, then I focus on working on the shows all the way through up into shooting them, and then I will go home after the show and get in the gym and meditate and brain train and do the things that I would normally do first thing in the morning on this particular day when I shoot this show, because it requires a different type of energy from me. And it's again, then what is the reward for that? Okay, then it's easier for me to come in and shoot the show and compact all of that time and energy into a small window rather than spreading it out over the week and feeling more prepared by the time I come in and shoot, and that's it's a hard thing to assess unless you're trying to see how it feels. You're really just trying to see how everything feels for you on an ongoing basis. And it's like when you feel like resistant, like in any aspect of your life, like it's time to create some sort of change or system or solution to release that resistance. You know what I mean? And it's paramount in the concept that is the machine mindset, and this idea that you're continually designing, automating, and optimizing all aspects of your life on an ongoing basis. And that is, your time, your energy, all these different things that make up all the systems in your life, like in continually assessing them and changing them. Like it's core to the entire system. But a lot of times, people, will ask me, what like is optimization as it relates to how you, like look at optimization. Like, is there a point where something is so optimized that that's it, and I'm not saying that there isn't certain systems that I've created that have gotten to a place to where they're so efficient and so optimized that there's very little change. But again, it ends up being just this little bit of resistance in the way that you're operating it or feeling it that forces you to look at like, okay, what do you need to do in order to make this easier and more efficient? You know what I mean? And the worst thing that you can do is just continually keep doing the same things in your life and keep feeling the same friction over and over and over, whatever it may be, a person in your life, a thing that you do on an ongoing basis, somebody that you work with, the way that you, work out, the way that something that you eat on an ongoing basis, or the way that you're, getting your food, whatever it may be, whenever you feel it, but you do it on an ongoing basis and you allow that resistance and friction to be a part of your life, you're a crazy person. You're crazy. That's the definition. Person doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. If you keep feeling that same sort of resistance in your life and you keep doing it on an ongoing basis, you are crazy. You are a crazy person. But it is the ultimate awareness of knowing that there now is a clearly something that you need to change, and it's a beautiful like habit, if you will, to develop, and something to get really good at over time is to continually be feeling for where do you feel that in your life, and it's like it's led to so many different ways of optimizing my life, whether it's me sending the email to my wife each morning to lay out everything that I'm doing that day. Was built behind this idea of this friction of of like, I didn't know you were doing that, or what. Like, I wish I knew like that you were going to be gone till 6 o'clock today. Whatever it may be. It's like, again, feeling that friction of that happening on an ongoing basis then led to like, okay, what's a solution or a system that can be implemented to release that? And then boom, there you have it. You add an entirely new system of communication that lays out everything you're doing in the day and releases that resistance, and that friction between us, and that's the type of things that I just continually hunt on an ongoing basis. When I talk about time design and continually assessing time and redesigning time and the way that I use time on an ongoing basis, that's primarily around like where I'm feeling friction, and I talked recently about how, I really began to see the importance of sort of my free work in the morning that leads to then my morning routine, that then I needed the execution block behind it in order to be more efficient. But again, I after really having that be part of my system and really getting much higher on output of the things that I needed to do, I started to begin to feel friction in my Mondays, because Mondays are really where I try to organize all aspects of my mind and all aspects of my week, and then everybody that works for me and with me, of really getting sort of caught up and reset on a Monday that was being compromised by pushing execution time into that. And I readjusted that based off of feeling the friction of like, even though you're, you have this dedicated time to execute, like you actually should, be dedicating that time to getting caught up in everything as it relates to being organized with everyone that works for you and is a part of moving the whole system along on Mondays. And again, you create a new system, you optimize, you redesign, you get back into automation, you feel friction, like, okay, you reassess it, you make the change, you've now optimized. And it's that is this continual nuanced way of looking at how do you continually build better and better systems, a more and more efficient life, and everything about how your whole system integrates together is really about hunting where you feel that friction, because it is a much more nuanced and less distinct sort of thing that you'll be looking for when it comes to optimization. But it is extremely important, right? Because it may not be as powerful as energy, right? Because at a certain point, once you've designed your life around all the things that give you energy, and now you live this much more overall harmonious existence where you're really going from thing to thing to thing that you enjoy, and your present experience is one that you are finding meaningful and joyful on a more consistent basis. Now you're looking into how your whole life works together, and you're looking for just places where there's just a bit of friction and resistance for you to optimize in. And that truly is where optimization is occurring on a much more micro level than a macro level. And I know a lot of people that listen to this show do have great systems and are highly optimized human beings. And I think this is one that when you think about it, it'll make a lot of sense as it relates to another thing for you to just constantly be aware of and be conscious of, and what you need to look at and what you may need to change, right? And it's never at a certain point when you begin to operate at a high level, like it's like the big easy to spot energy drainers, or things that you just don't like, or things that you shouldn't do. You grow to a place where they just don't exist in the same way, but you still have the potential to create resistance in the system that can be, not a full energy killer, but like energy disruptors. And really, you're just trying to get rid of all of those to stay in this continual state of optimal energy and continual flow and rhythm, so that you can spend your energy and towards compounding and growing into the ideal, better version of yourself that you have laid out in the first place. And it's nuanced, but it's worth adding to your toolkit, because it's, once you become aware of it and start looking at it, these little bits of friction actually create a lot more disruption than you realize. And as long as you keep solving for them, and when you see it, more than once, know that it's time to make a change and figure out a way, a solution or system to get rid of that friction. That allows you to continually stay in that great rhythm and the flow state that gives you the ability to achieve way more and make a higher impact on everything that you're hoping to accomplish. And again, this one might be a little bit geared towards, those that live that machine mindset and really understand systems and have a lot of different aspects of their life that is already automated, and you can begin to feel that nuance of what that slight friction is. But it is for everybody. Every single person on this earth, if you just assess your life for where there is friction, where there is conflict, and create a system or solution to stop that, you will end up, by default, just having a happier and happier life on an ongoing basis. It's these little frictions in our life that we tend to ignore that compound and end up being multiple little frictions that make up a big disruption in our entire existence. And if we were a little bit more aware of it, we would make the change and be constantly optimizing towards a happier, high quality existence. Because what? That's what we're all about down here. That's what we're doing it for. We're all just trying to live in a beautiful, joyful state on an ongoing basis. All right, appreciate you all for listening. As always, you know what it is. Like, subscribe, comment, be a part of our whole world. Support our companies, support our founders, support our foundation. But thank you for supporting the show and listening to the show. As always, I appreciate all of you. I feel like we were all on the same mission together, and hopefully each and every week this stuff gets another piece for you to think about, to add to your overall way of thinking, just to make you better and better and better, because that's all it's about. You know what I mean? You know what it is. You're a creative being. You're a creative being with eyes, so you can see into the future. I know you're smart, and I know somewhere you got a computer or a pencil, so you can write down a plan that you know is going to happen. And you wouldn't even listen to this show if you didn't have the power to push your ideas into reality. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.